I just wanted to run a propaganda that the blacks are bad and that they should be killed. Even though it's not true. Oh, but see, it's okay to do that, right? Because Janet Napolitano does it with veterans. You see how the government works? You see how much they think you're idiots? But of course, most people who watch TV and eat the GMO food are idiots because what has happened? They've become dumbed down. They're dumb. Period. It's not like they're not educated. No, they're just dumb. And of course, the education has been dumbed down. So yeah, they're pretty much uneducated. But that doesn't even have anything to do with it. No, they could be told till they're blue in the face what's going on, and they're just dumb. Until they get off the TV, till they get off the stupid drugs, till they get off the stupid GMO. No, they're not gonna hear it. They're only gonna hear what their controllers tell them, who want them dead. When Napolitano's comments were met with public disdain, because it was put in their face that I ran this propaganda scam on you, and I can get away with it. The DHS amended their assertion that extremist groups were highly marked, but rather it was a lone wolf type that would carry out the biggest act of domestic terrorism. You mean the lone wolf type that worked with 4 other guys during the Sikh shooting that 2 witnesses saw? You mean the lone wolf type that acted out with another shooter where there was 2 canisters thrown across both sides of the theater, where there was multiple shooters seen by several witnesses? You mean that lone wolf type? Ran by DARPA, working with DARPA, had a DARPA psychiatrist, mind control psychiatrist. Was on public welfare, put up in an apartment by the government, while somehow he can simultaneously afford $1,000 weapons. How do you get on welfare when you can afford $1,000 weapons to go kill people? I mean, am I the only one that actually has a mild IQ enough to understand what's going on around me? Mainstream media has spun the propaganda perfectly by asserting that, quote, the return of military veterans facing significant challenges reintegrating into their communities could lead to the potential emergence of terrorist groups or lone wolf extremists capable of carrying out violent attacks. You know, I figured it out here. They don't like America. They don't like veterans because we're the last real world people left. You go out into other countries, those people are drooling idiots. Now, I'm not trying to put down other countries, but the mass majority of the world is ready for New World Order. They like going to movies, they like drooling, they like victim disarmament, they like being victims of their government. They like being pushed around. They like watching their neighbors being taken away for having a gun. They just love it. And see, that's why America's hated. That combined with the fact that the globalists use our resources to kill people overseas, innocent people, and disarm them in our name. So, I mean, of course veterans are being targeted. But it's not for what you think. It's because veterans have the potential of telling you the truth of what they're doing overseas and what the government has planned for us here. And they have more credibility because, well, they're whistleblowers. A plan is unfolding that connects U.S. veterans to the probability of committing horrendous acts of violence, which the DHS would probably be responsible for, considering the fact that they, bought up 700 pounds of ammonium nitrate, which is exactly what they demonize veterans for having, which they don't have. which can be made into IEDs to be blamed on veterans, be made to look like veterans did it. Some of you might say, well, you know, they're just messing with the ammonium nitrate. They're not going to actually ignite it. Oh, yeah? So then why did they buy 700 pounds of RDX if they're not going to ignite the 700 pounds of ammonium nitrate? Explain to me that. Oh, you can't, because even no matter how many mental jumping jacks that you actually do away from the truth, logic trumps fear any day. But go ahead and live in fear. It's perfectly normal, right? The MSM provides a social. By the way, before 9/11, that's why Oklahoma City didn't really do much. Before 9/11, most people were not afraid of the government at all, really. But you continue believing what you want to believe, I guess. The MSM, in a neurotic, pathological way, the MSM provides the social dialogue while various federal agencies, in collaboration with the U.S. Army, are using a medical condition to justify the coming accusations. We have seen this before. When the U.S. government rolls out martial law, the biggest threat to their total lockdown of America will be the U.S. veteran. Well, of course, he's a seasoned soldier. He knows how to take on the military. And he basically knows the laws and what the military's not supposed to do. And he's going to inform the public. And they don't like that. Because you can't have freedom. You can't have people that are armed in a police state takeover where they want to kill everybody. I mean, if you have a bunch of sick pedophile rapists who run our military and look at Americans with disdain and want to take our little children and do unspeakable things with them, they can't really get away with that unless the population is disarmed. And they can't do that until they have martial law. But the problem is that even though they go after the general public, and they can get away with that because the general public is a bunch of weak-minded jellyfish, the U.S. veterans aren't. And so even though you've served in the military, once you're discharged, even if you go along with everything, you're still a threat. Because you're not a spineless jellyfish like the general public. And so they have to just make sure you're done. You're done away with. You're decommissioned. If you don't die in battle, well, when they discharge you, eventually you're going to be NDAA'd. Former active duty soldiers are trained in tactical procedures and pose a real risk because they can easily combat the U.S. military that will show up in every city across the entire nation. In May of this year, federal court judge Catherine Forrest ordered that the U.S. military could not arbitrarily imprison Americans based on alleged terrorist activity in regard to the indefinite detention clause in the NDAA. Although, you know what? They'd like to use the word decommission. Coinciding with the growing number of mentally ill U.S. veterans, we are seeing the removal of their firearms and right to even own firearms. This is another scheme that the Obama administration is implementing to set the stage for their complete takeover of America after martial law is declared. So this is a big scheme to basically go after basically people who can defend us during a time when the federal government is treasonously taken over by the UN and given commands by the UN. And by the way, it's not going to be the UN hats, like everybody says, okay? It's going to be our own military. Our own military is already integrated into the UN. I know. You know those black berets and those blue berets? Those dark blue ones and those black ones that the military now wears? Those are UN berets. Okay? And, yeah, I know the cities are going to be locked down and they're going to be a living hell. But that's just the beginning. They're going to go after everyone. They're going to go after farmers. They're going to go after people who know how to take care of themselves. This place is going to be shut down. And that's why I'm trying to warn everyone. We'll be right back.
I am Phil Terra. I was born a farmer's son. My father, he taught me how to sow. Told me that the land could teach me how to grow. If I could keep open my heart, never be apart from the ebb and flow of life. And I still hear the words of the one and only verse he sang before he died. For the land in which we stand is the only thing we have that can withstand the weight of our lives. So learn to treat the land like you treat your own two hands. Honor its strength, cherish the gifts it holds. Well, I never needed his strength more when they knocked upon my door and said it's time to go. Those words struck deep in my heart. To lose the family farm is to lose all I know. And my father's fate and his mother's before is what I'd wished for my son, whom I still yet unborn. And all he could say is I'm sorry. Leave now while you can, you have been warned. But the land on which we stand is the only